All right, welcome back to another layout update. Been a little while, but we've got some, as you may be able to tell, some progress on valence, a couple of new purchases. So yeah, let's jump on into it. All right, so jumping on into this, the main thing I've been working on has been uh, fascia and valence. So I went ahead and remounted all the stuff I already have, and I pretty much started in that corner and just worked all the way around here, got to the corner, then I got a piece on the end down there, and then as you can see I got all of the valence support structure done for everything else. I just got two small pieces I need to put on the end right here to do that, take care of that, but that's, not too terribly much. Went ahead and got the fascia piece mounted to this. It is going to have to come off one more time because I need to actually cut the profile. And then you can see right there through the hack work, I got the frame modded and made everything from here over permanent. So this is screwed down to the L girders. I basically took this module frame apart and just screwed all the components down. And then I've got the cork started for coming through that hole and all the way in through here. I had enough of a height difference. I just left it, I'll sand it smooth, and then once that fills in with scenery, you won't notice the difference. And then added a piece right there. So one more sheet of hardboard is probably going to do it. I'm going to kind of slow down on it because I need to start working on other things for the SEER train show, like getting my clinic ready to go, among other items. And module stuff needs to get done before the February Birmingham show. So that's what's been going on. Our major thing we've done is Rich and Nolan got hold of an estate. And this was probably about 400 tubs of HO, 70 tubs of N scale, and that's not counting everything else that this had. Tools, supplies, module parts. It was insane. I'll throw some pics up. Or I might have already done it by now, but 3 pickup loads it took to just get all the modules and the lumber out. So a lot of that has been absorbed in here, including some foam. So it'll eventually get used up on here. That's what's been going on with that. The other thing I did, as you can see, is I got pretty much most of what I have as far as the work lighting back up. Went ahead this time around and I ran 1x2s down the length of it. So instead of having to put the cross pieces where the ends of the lights are, I just put the 1x2 on the bottom and screwed them to the 1x2, and those are both 1x2s that came out of the supplies, all the lumber I got from the estate. So same thing down on this end. Got all the way to the corner. I just need to get some more strips and put them underneath on this side and come up this way, and then go by Walmart of Lowe's, get some more of these things, and I'm going to run that strip all the way down to about there, and then get a bunch of the extension pieces like that. And the second string will start about right here, and that string's going to go all the way around and do the rest of the layout. So that's what's coming. Other thing I did, Rich and I did this. When I was doing the modules, you'll notice I chopped this one down to where it's just the turntable. The turntable is actually set in place, so it's all kind of shimmed up. I did end up having to trim that really close shave. Yeah. But yeah, it works. I ain't complaining. But it's all shinned in place and level. The main achievement though is the module frames themselves. So new frame. Both of these are new frames. a little bit of old left in this one. This frame I reused. I just had to trim some of the risers. And then that frame I reused, which now it's basically permanent. And it worked out exactly like I intended. So I just unscrewed all the risers, left with everything on it, track, sub-row bed, all the wiring, all the Taurus machines, the DS64s, all of it. Plugged it back in, plugged in track power, and it all worked. No issues, no problems, no shorts, nothing. It just worked perfect. I had one short, but that was because a couple wires I had hooked up were touching, not because anything was wired incorrectly. So I would call that a win. I would call that a very big win. And despite how the layout looks, it was about 3 times messier than this. So it has had one big cleanup. I'm probably going to give it another cleanup before I seriously start doing anything for the 2024 season. But yeah, we got the turntable in. Anyways, I forgot where I was going with that train of thought for a minute. We got the turntable in, and then something else that was in the estate collection. 5-stall Roundhouse. It's already been built, weathered. I'm assuming it's a Walther's kit. I do have all the missing parts and everything, so I'm good on that. I can reglue them. I've got, the vents. I got all the windows. I got everything for it. The only thing that's going to be interesting is if you notice there's no track in it. I'm pretty sure this is I think it's the Walther's, but if it is, that's the base for the expansion kit I already had, and the base doesn't look like that. So I don't know. We'll see. And for your information, I can still reach into that corner. From here over, I made it permanent. You can see I got to bump it out a little bit more, but I really don't mind because it does fit. That is really, really, really close. So I do want to bring the whole thing like this way a little bit more, because if I do the angle right, about an angle of my finger, I can get another inch of movement this way to get it off that corner. That's really, really going to help. So we'll do that. And then, of course, I still need to convert the bridge to code 70 track, because the way the guy did this, you look real close there, you can see the code 100 track is actually sitting up high. And that's because, well, the best view is the ends. To give you an idea, is look at the end of it. You can't really see it, but he had an extra piece of wood on the end, and it's at the track on that. And if you look at it, the bare wood, it's actually, the top of the rail should be at that lip. So the bare wood is actually flush with this. So I think originally the track was meant to be lower, which I'm going to change anyways because I'm converting it to code 70. So, but it does fit. I told Nolan I'd do a trade. I saw that and I told him, look, let me see if it fits, and then I'll trade you. I'll take this one. I'll let you have my 3-stall Walther's extension and the 3-stall Atlas Roundhouse. You sell those, and that's going to be more than what you would have. That's going to be more than what you would have gotten, the two of them combined for this. So I did a little bit of haggling on it with that. And I got some other stuff. I'll do a video on that eventually, but it's still stacked in the closet waiting to go through it because I need to inventory it so I know what I owe Rich before I bring it in a train room. Purchases and finds and, project updates. And let me grab them because I almost forgot. I filmed that intro a couple weeks ago. Anyways, starting on the left, I have been very slowly working at rebuilding a couple of Nolan's locomotives. So he has 2 of these. They're both Lifelike / B2K Alco FAs. They both have already had the Digitrack sound bug decoders in them. Not my choice. But I think they're some of the first ones Nolan had Kenny put sound in a while ago. So, anyways, I went ahead and took the trucks completely apart, threw them in the ultrasonic cleaner, re-lubed them. The thing still runs slow, but I think that's because it needs newer wheel sets. And then I went ahead and hardwired the red and black pickup wires to the trucks themselves on each end. You can't really see it, but it's soldered to the trucks. So did that one. It's going to get speed matched with another Alco FA, and then I got two Atlas RS3s of his I got to fiddle with. eBay purchase, I scored two 2-count packs of these Central Valley trucks, and if you've seen these before, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you have not, the reason I love these is because if you notice, it's not going to show it, but because it's black. But if you notice real carefully when I'm pressing this, it's moving the way it is because these are sprung. I mean, these are completely sprung, literally like the real thing. So that brass right there, it's real miniature brass springs. So the axles and the journals, the whole bottom half of the truck is sprung completely independently of the top half. And then you got your two screw holes, and you got the rivets there that hold the two halves together. And you've got metal wheels in it already. So the one passenger car I got with these under it, I have never had derailed since I put them on. I've had the Walters trucks derail, I've had the River Rossi trucks, the Blue Box trucks derail, but these things have not. So I found me two more of them. Good price. I snagged them, had to while I saw it because they finally popped up. Don't know which cars I'll put them on yet. I'll get to that eventually, but I wanted to snag them while I could. Another eBay find, if we move over here for a minute, is track. And I need to clean this whole place up. I need a round of cleaning in here. This is one I'm really excited about. Fast track jigs. Not eBay purchase, sorry. Facebook, one of the Facebook groups. Guy only wanted 120 for the jig, the point and frog filing tools, and two of the ribbon rail metal track gauges. 26 and forget what this one is. 30. 26 and a 30 radius. I already have a 22 and a 24. So 22, 24, 26. That's the three main ones. And I've got a 30 on there. So that's like all the four main ones. But just for context, the jig alone by itself, if you get it off of it, is 120 bucks. So he basically cost the jig and just essentially threw in everything else. Plus a sheet of the PCB ties and the wooden sweepsticks ties that go in between the PCB ties when you build these turnouts. So I've been hunting for one of those for a while. And if you'll notice, it says right there, number 5, code 70. So every air turnout I'm going to have on the layout is going to be code 70. I'm not going to have any more code 83 turnouts. The only exception might be right here in the engine terminal, and that's because I think I'm going to need two of the Pico code 75, which is basically code A3, three-way turnouts like that to get the engine terminal lead to flare out and span out to all the tracks and the space I've got. Other than that, the spur to the pulpwood, turnout to the pulpwood spur on the other side, and the rest of the turnouts in Nelsonville / Haydenville and the ones on the second level over here on the cold branch Minimo modules are going to be all handlay code 70. The only different thing I'm going to do is, instead of using the sweepsticks ties underneath, I'm going to get the micro engineering tie strips and use those. So it'll give me spike detail, look a little more realistic. And they do have exactly the same profile. So that was a really, really cool find. And then the last thing I picked up, well, next to last thing, I think this was a gift. I can't remember how I got it, but one of the Class 1 Model Works, and this was just, no, this was the collection. One of the Class 1 Model Works depressed center flat cars. So I think this is technically like 1957 and up, so 3 years too late, but I'm not going to complain. I was very interested to see one of these up close and personal, because I've been hearing about these and I hadn't actually seen one yet. So I got to see it, and I'll tell you this off the bat. I'm very impressed with the car. They did a fantastic job on this thing detail-wise. And what I get a kick out of is, if you look, again, this is I think this is qualifies as a, I gotta get to where you can see it. I won't show you, but okay, yeah, you can kind of see it. Not only do they have the air hose, the glad hand and the end of the air hose is already painted silver. And then all the grab irons are etched metal. They're separately applied parts. You got a metal brake wheel. You've got metal detail on the trucks, metal detail on the brake rigging on the underside. It's really, really good car. And if I get the chance, I'm going to get some of their intermodal cars. So the last couple things, 3 more things. Next 2 things also came out at a state sale. These were already built, so they were already this way. Built, weathered, excellent job. I've got to put bracing in this one because you can see it's kind of started to bow. But just a little transfer truck terminal, and I love the fact that he made some of it, you can't see it, but some of it's painted blue and green, so some of it is supposed to look like, I guess, stained glass. I don't know if he meant for that to be an abandoned building. It doesn't look abandoned, it just looks well used. I'm going to assume that's what it was. But anyways, that one is going to go on the cold branch modules up here. And New Straitsville actually had a freight house. I have photos of it. I'm just going to assume in my alternate history, either they tore that down eventually and replaced it with this, or someone just set up a freight transfer company. And it's off of a spur where maybe they got a box car or 2 a week, and it's just like a transfer for truck to truck or truck to train for like the whole area, whatever. You know, something like that. Oh, the big building right there. Again, this was already assembled. You can see that it's clear. I'm not going to manhandle it too much, but it is completely open on the back. He does have corner bracing in there, but the roof is paper, and the whole thing is a little too flexible, so it needs some more bracing on it, which I will do. But the reason I got that for is that's going to be for the GE plant. And then that other old blue box kit that I kind of beat the snot out of because when I didn't know what I was doing. I'm going to take the walls from that and basically turn them into an additional low release structure. So let me move the track jig. I'll move the fast tracks jig. And where I'm probably going to set this thing probably going to be about right there. Enough room so I can disguise this core of it with scenery. If you got a 50-foot box car, you know, you've got enough room for the spur to go out here and then a bumper post, whatever. But I'm going to take those other brick walls I've got and go ahead and make them flat. So if you look, I got about a 1/2 inch of width right there. I'm going to take those and I'm just going to use them to bring the building out probably over to about there, you know, give or take. So it looks like an add-on or something else. Have a road that comes down and then, like, you know, pipes or something going over it. And the road comes out, parking lot, comes across the spur, parking lot here for the scale track that's going to be right here. And then somewhere probably about here, going to have a coal unloading area. So the GE plant can get coal. And then from there, over the rest of the way, that's going to be a couple of local industry spots for 2 of the other industries that were in Logan. So that's my little plan. That track's going to come off. Scale house track, a little bit of a lead, and then a place to put the coach when it's not being used on the mixed freight. And that is going to be the dual track version that can take cars across it. And then, of course, that track coming off right there is just going to go straight, and that'll turn into the industry spur. So that is how that's going to go. Not too much in a rush to get to those. Again, the main thing I'm working for at this point is the SEER convention. And as of right now, with just the way life stuff is coming up that I know is coming up, right now I need to get a piece of hardboard and rip it to finish the valence and the fascia. That's probably going to wait until the spring when it's warm out, and in the meantime I'm going to jump back on mudding and sanding and painting. So I'm going to try something a little different too. I'm going to try using a wet sanding sponge because I've done some more reading and I want to see if I can get a lot less dusty and make it come out a lot smoother if I'm using a wet sanding sponge first before I use the dry sanding. So I would like to have the fascia and valence and backdrop done, but if I had to have like the bare minimum I'd be happy with, I at least want the valence up top done and the backdrop done and painted blue. A couple more things that I'll wrap this out with. Another thing that was in the estate collection that is going to save me a lot of purchasing is a whole bunch of the metal bracket shelf system. So I didn't take any of the cheap crap particle board shelving. I hate that stuff. I just soon put decent plywood on top of it. But I mean, he had brackets out the yin yang and a bunch of the metal parts like that actually screw into the wall. So next year I'm going to take Rich up on his suggestion and move the dispatcher from over there into the closet. So eventually when I've got my piece of backdrop here that closes so you don't see the closet, when we're having an operating session, dispatcher's in there and he's separated away from the railroad, and it adds that extra level of realism. That also means I'm going to put shelving over there, and basically I'm going to take all that metal shelving stuff. I'm actually seriously thinking about basically tearing that desk apart on the spot and getting out of here, but either way I'm going to use a bunch of that metal shelving, and I'm going to move the dispatcher and the programming track into the closet in there on that left side. Some of that I'll use, and then some of the rest of it I'm probably going to use some of it in the garage for other shelving. And then the last thing, and again out of the state, this is state that keeps giving, folks. This 3 days of pulling stuff out, like every 5 minutes, Rich and Nolan and Kenny and I were just going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, because we kept finding stuff that this guy had. It was insane. But the other thing he had, and this is a godsend, stencils for backdrops. So you got a mountain series, you got a cloud series, and mountains too. I think they're 2 separate mountains. Details, city scene, and hills. So as I mentioned before, one of my long-standing problems I've been mulling over is how do I match that? My late mom painted that, and I'm not that artistic, so I was like, I can get the blue up, but I don't know how to match that, and I want something that doesn't look horrible in comparison. So those stencils are going to do that for me. That's really, really going to help. But that will also be later next year, probably the second half of the year, because the regional convention is in June. So a lot of this stuff is going to be after that. Hopefully in conjunction with the start of operating sessions. So that's pretty much going to do it for this update. Merry Christmas late, Happy New Year early. As always, you know the drill, folks. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Take care. God bless. I'll have a year in review video coming out here pretty soon, and I'll see you on the next one.